Hi. Today I felt compelled to share a very important message in the era we're living in. And it's becoming responsible of our position, how we position ourselves. Because the world is increasingly polarized, there are more and more wars and violence towards humans, towards animals, towards nature and wildlife, towards everything that is conscious. And to me, it is extremely important, it is essential to connect with our own suffering and not choose the easy way, which is to polarize more and more, to choose your camp, choose your on which side you want to fight this war, not just do that. And I'm not encouraging passivity and doing nothing in the face of injustice and suffering. It's the opposite. It's actually connecting to suffering inside so we can connect to suffering outside and connect to everyone and everything's suffering. Because when you let yourself be touched by your own suffering, then you can have compassion and connect to everyone's suffering. Whether it doesn't matter what their values are, what their ethnicity is, what their religion is, what their gender is, that doesn't matter anymore. You can actually connect to everyone's suffering because violence comes from suffering. So you can connect to your own suffering and see why you feel like you have to react this way, position yourself this way in order to connect to the other person's suffering. So we can end this cycle of reproducing violence and vengeance mentality, and we can start really peace processes. But that can only happen if we connect to our own suffering and the other person's suffering. Because if you know the Karpman's triangle, the savior is on top and is related both to the victim and to the perpetrator of the violence. So it's not just about saving the victims by perpetrating violence against the perpetrator. That just nourishes the cycle of violence and war and suffering ultimately. When we can connect to the suffering of the victim and connect to the suffering of the perpetrator, then we can begin peace processes. Then we can stop this cycle, because this, we can see, this is not working. We've been doing it this way and being dominated. Different groups throughout history have been dominated and then have sometimes become the dominating force against others and have been reproducing violence, and it doesn't work. The world is just, society as we know it is collapsing in a way. So we have to start acting, feeling, being in a different way. We can't do this anymore. So I'm really encouraging you to connect to suffering. Really let yourself touched by your own suffering and the source of your suffering, which is not always what you think it is on the surface. So you can truly connect to the victim's suffering, who you perceive as the victim and who you perceive as the perpetrator. And then we will know peace. That's how it works. So thank you for listening and have a beautiful day or night.